We're Ashley and Ivan. For the last 10 years, we've worked as a husband and wife team in nonprofit and business.
We know both the joy and the tension that comes from working with your spouse. That's why we're so passionate about helping other Christian couples who lead and work together to turn tension into teamwork, communicate clearly, and lead as one.
Let's go on this journey together.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. My name is Ivan.
Hi, I'm Ashley. Last episode, we talked about how having a shared priorities is a make or break factor. And because without that, you're not going to be aligned and you're not working on what matters the most and everything will just fall apart.
Yep. And so today we're going to build off that. Once we have our shared priorities, we kind of know the direction of where we're going. The next question is, how do we actually execute that? And that's why we want to talk about the secret to wildly productive couples. And really, it actually starts with a system that helps you do that.
You can have all the effort that you want to make something work, but it's not just about the effort. It's about having a system channels that effort. A system gives it direction. And so without it, it would be a motion without any progress.
So we want to unpack that a little bit more. Shared priorities are that direction of where we need to go, and the system helps us enable and really get the things done that are most important.
So when we talk about system, it means a plan or rhythm or some kind of an action step that would take you to what matters the most for you.
Yep. And this took us quite a bit to figure out. It wasn't something that we just kind of stumbled into. It really took some intentionality.
Yeah, we had our own processes, my preferences, the way that I like to work, and he had his. And when we try to marry the two together, it's like having a Frankenstein, having that something that looks really weird.
Yeah, for sure. We all kind of have our own personal systems. But then when you're sharing it with your spouse, it's like, I want her to use mine. She wants me to use hers. And for us, it was really kind of chaotic, honestly. And it caused a lot of tension. We felt like we were dropping the ball on things that need to get done or like constantly nagging at one another. Yeah, it was hard. And it definitely brought up a lot of fights and pain points.
I think it's frustrating to be in that place, but also from a work perspective, it was ineffective. We weren't moving as fast or efficiently as we wanted it to. And so we were thinking desperately that we need to change something here. We need some kind of a plan of action so that we can actually make things work.
For sure. So what I did is, all right, I'm going to build us something real sweet, right? Like this really amazing project management tool. I hopped into Notion, built it all out. I spent probably hours on that thing. And I'm like, all right, here, babe, this is what we're going to use. And it like crickets, like totally fell flat, didn't work at all. And so what we realized from that is in order for a system to work, we both need to have buy-in. We're both on the same page, literally, and we're actually going to use it in our day-to-day.
He showed it to me. I was like, it's just too complicated. This makes no sense for me. I don't look at it the way that you do. And so I ended up not buying into it, and we ended up not using it, and he ended up wasting a lot of time. Yeah. But before we get into the system, we need to talk about what done looks like for you.
Yes.
Because often that's something that we struggle with. When Ivan says he's done with something and I look at it and I go, you're no way to be done. You need to fix this and you need to work on this. Have you considered this? And so we've noticed that the definition of being done looked totally different for both of us. So to mitigate that, we implemented a plan or system that worked for us where he would say, okay, I'm finished with this project. Could you take a look at it? And I'd be like, hey, I'm done with the 2.0. Can you take a look at it? So we kind of check off on each other, vice versa. And that's the system that worked for us.
Definitely. So make sure you talk with your spouse on what does done, what is the finished project, make it as clear as possible so you're on the same page. It also creates that buy-in for one another of like, okay, we're in on this thing together, which is so important to have that shared ownership. And just also to say that done can look different at different steps. Maybe it's your first draft and done just looks like getting something down and like, okay, now we can work with this and then revisiting it. So again, you kind of work with what done looks like at different phases. So today we want to talk about, okay, building a healthy system that really works for you so that you can be productive. But before we get into that, we want to take a moment just to talk about the why behind work. As believers, as followers of Jesus, work is so much more than just checklists and things that we just do throughout our day. It is really actually connected to worshiping God and honoring Him with our energy, our strength, our mind, our heart, all of who we are as we get to really build with Him.
It's about stewardship. It's about stewarding what the Lord has given to us whatever he entrusted to us, whether that's talents, finances, time, and energy, your personality. At the end of our life, God's going to ask us, hey, how have you used your talent? Did you bury it or did you multiply it?
And this comes from the heart posture of Colossians 3:23. It says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And this really gives us a clear picture of our work being unto Jesus, that whatever we do, it's for him. And we're doing it not only for him, but with him. And it gives so much deeper meaning to our day to day and what feels like mundane or just kind of like basic stuff.
And when we truly understand this, our work becomes an extension of worship. It's not just going to Sunday to sing a song and that's worship unto God, but everything that we do is worship unto him. And this is where we actually value excellence. We're not just doing it to perform or to make our names known, but we do things excellently because God deserves the most excellent things and that he is worthy to be worshiped with everything that we have. And that when we steward it rightly, we see work, our priorities, our plan and systems in a complete different light.
100%. Story time. I remember when this really became personal to me. Right after high school, I worked as a server in a restaurant. Every day I would try to pray, God, I want to see my work as worship to you out of this whole context. And I remember it was a really busy holiday season. It was a lot of people coming in. The restaurant was slammed. I had this big 12 top in the front that I was serving with a bunch of other small tables. And then I get this one small 4-seater kind of on the other side, really inconvenient. So, it's busy. I'm trying to do my best, right? I get there, but I need help from my team. I ask them to run drinks and run food. And I go to check in on them after they get their main course. And as I walk up, how's the food? How are things tasting? And the lady turns to me and she says, who are you? And it was implying you're a server, you haven't been around. Why should I even give you time of day kind of thing? And I didn't really know what to do. I was shocked. So I kind of laughed it off all right, if you're good, I'll be back in a little bit kind of thing. I walked away. I felt so disrespected. I was so angry. I was all right, forget you. You think you're the only person in the restaurant? Take a second and look around. Not to mention, you have no idea what's happening behind the scenes for me. So what did I do? Well, I was ready to just kind of be see yourself out, pay at the front kind of thing. But I was like, Jesus, help me, please help me. And I remember him just whispering to my heart in that moment. He said, Ivan, I want you to serve that table as if I was sitting there. And I was like, dang. I thought about it. How would I serve that table if Jesus was there? Man, I would want to give him my best. And that began to shift this whole view of work, that no matter what I'm doing, it's for him and it's with him. It even impacted our marriage, how I see Ashley, that, man, she's deeply and dearly loved by Jesus, his precious daughter. How would I treat her? How would I lead her? And so I'm not shooting for perfection. There are definitely days where I wake up and I feel the squeeze of different motivations. But my aim is to see it as, Lord, this is unto you. This is for you. You are worthy of my worship in my work.
I love that story. And how that applies to us today is as we are building out our life duo and serving couples who are leading and working together, life duo is God's and that he is our CEO. He is the one that's guiding us and directing us, giving us inspiration and pathway as to where we need to go. We often pray about what's going to be our priorities. We come to him with our priorities. He would confirm or he would say, hey, let's pivot here. And so working in partnership with him is such a good place to be because we're not doing it alone. I can't imagine doing anything without his help.
Yeah.
And so even this podcast it's the Lord's leading. He said, and he whispered in our hearts, hey, would you consider serving those couples who are leading and working together? And would you encourage them? And would you share your heart with them? And so this is just our commitment to the Lord and say, God, whatever we do, this is worship unto you. Life Duo is for you.
Yeah, and so perhaps it's a good point here just to pause and for you to consider what's motivating you in your work. Maybe it's performance, maybe it's pressure, maybe it's fear and anxiety, or maybe it's finances. Maybe it is worship. Maybe you're hearing this, you're like, man, this is confirming. God's been speaking to me about this. Our heart is that you wouldn't beat yourself up. This isn't a guilt trip. There's no shame, but just a moment to come honestly back to God. There are days when I miss it, where I feel more motivated by finances, pressure, and performance than worship and love, devotion, and steadfastness to God. And so coming to him saying, God, I do want to see my work as an extension of worship to you, whatever it is. And that applies to all things in our life, right? Could be doing the dishes for Jesus, cleaning toilets for him, doing our laundry, whatever it might be. Our heart is that, man, we would carry that conviction of God, this is unto you.
Now, let's shift the gear a little bit and let's talk practicals because we all love practicals. Let's talk about where to start with the system that works for you. I had a system, he had a system, and we tried to marry the two and it became a Frankenstein. So the importance here is that you have to have a shared system that works for both of you, that you buy in together, that you're going to commit to it, you're going to be intentional about it, and that you are preferring one another's way of working, and that you're going to come to a one plan where it's going to work for both of you.
Yeah. The secret to wildly productive couples is that they have a system that works for them. It creates clarity of who's doing what, helps you run in your power lanes. It also strengthens trust that we're not micromanaging one another. I'm like, did you do this thing yet? Or blah, blah, blah. It also protects your peace where you don't fight as much because you know the system and where you're at. And it really brings out the best in both of you. A system should support you to do that, where it doesn't feel burdened or heavy, but enabling and empowering you to do the work unto Jesus.
Yeah, it's like having a structure that is a safety net for you. You know exactly where you need to go. You know exactly what done looks like. You know who's doing what. And that gives you peace and freedom and confidence. Like, I love having a system. It's like my jam.
So you might be thinking, all right, we hear you, Ivan and Ashley. We need a system, or maybe we need to improve our system. Where do we start? Our recommendation is don't do what I did and try to build something really complex and spend lots of time making it all really look cool and be like all these formulas and things. Start simple and start easy, start small to gain momentum with the wins as you stack those on top of each other. You know, it's kind of like New Year's resolution. You're starting something new. You want to engage with something that you know you can do and that you can repeat. It's like if I'm trying to lose 15 pounds, it's like, okay, I'm going to run 14 miles a day. It's like, no, I'm not. Maybe I'm going to walk, you know, every day or every 2 days for 15 to 20 minutes. And that's my goal. And so again, when you're starting or if you're shifting in your system, move towards small wins so you can build momentum and then see how that begins to shift things in your productivity, your teamwork, and how you guys are getting stuff done together.
Yeah, the system doesn't have to be fancy or complicated or the newest or the best thing. It just has to work for you. And here are some key aspects as you consider creating a shared plan. So number one, it has to be simple.
Yep.
If it's not simple, it's not going to stick with you. You're not going to do it. You're not going to like it. And so you don't need a new software, but simple that works. Yep. Number two, it has to be clear. You both have to know who's doing what, by what date, what done looks like, how to sign off, and so you can track your progress. Number three, it has to build rhythm, not rules. It has to create a predictable rhythms, things like weekly meeting or planning meeting, time to pray, or some kind of a shared calendar so you know we're not trying to control each other, but we are connected without having to micromanage or like asking questions.
Yep. Number four is that it grows with you. So again, it should be something that's flexible, that as you take on more workload, it can handle that, but it's not restrictive, that it can scale with you. And number five is that it brings the best out of both of you. So a system should facilitate both your gift sets. And usually where we begin to see a system come kind of to fruition is what are the things you're naturally taking ownership of in this process, and begin to share notes on that. So, hey, I'm excited about this area of the work. Oh, you're excited about that work. Okay, how do we bring those together for our shared system? So when we have a system that is clear, it's simple, it grows with us, it brings the best out of both of us, it really creates that freedom. And we move from reacting to really leading with one another. And we want to take a moment, just kind of pull back the curtain on our system of making this podcast, because we felt like it'd be really helpful for you to hear a real life example. So for us, when we first started this podcast, it really started actually out of the place of prayer. We were having a leadership meeting with Jesus. We're asking, Lord, where do we go with this? What's our direction? What are you prioritizing? And he said, hey, I want you to start this podcast. That's our vision. We decided, let's go for 10 episodes. That began to make our shared priorities. I started to work some of the content. Ash would help and refine it. And what we began to do is create a simple system that worked for us to make this enjoyable, clean, and really productive.
When we did the first and second episode, oh my gosh, there's all these like mini steps that we forgot to add, or there are things that we needed to pivot so that the plan was no longer working. We had these sticky notes everywhere. It was chaotic. I mean, we were working, we were super busy, we were productive, but I don't know if we were like the most efficient in the way that we did it. We had to change things and just be, flexible with that.
Yeah. That's for sure. We took the approach of, hey, these first 2 episodes, let's just kind of see the process and then take some time on the back end of them and reflect on what were the steps that we needed to take in order to go from beginning all the way to done and finished. So we don't need to get it right 100% the first time, but moving forward, how can we better improve what we have? We defined all the steps we need to take, slapped it into a Google Sheet. Simple, clear, really repeatable for each episode. And from that point, it was just rinse and repeat, which was amazing.
What's amazing is that because we're often at a different stage for different episodes. And so by having this shared document, I knew exactly where we were with each process. The system gave us confidence and structure and safety for us to continue to move forward and be confident in what we were doing.
Yeah, I think what really helped me too is a lot of times I'll carry like my to-dos in my mind and it can feel like really stressful and weighty. But when we took the time to actually get it onto paper, it's amazing how you just feel like so relieved. You're like, wow, okay, I see everything I need to get done and it feels doable. These like bite-sized steps that I can take, they really help build momentum. And it really moved me from feeling like overwhelmed to like, okay, we can do this. I know exactly what I need to do. I just need to take this next step. Let's keep going. Yeah, so I can't imagine where we'd be without it. I guess we'd probably still just be really busy, not as productive, and probably stepping on each other's toes and different things like that. But having a system really helped us stay focused and reduced the unnecessary check-ins of kind of like micromanaging one another so that we could work really productively, but also really peacefully.
And I think it also feels so good to be leading from that place of confidence rather than reacting to it. Like, oh my gosh, we forgot to do this. Change the plan and work on this. And so again, like rather than reacting, we are responding, and that we are the owner of our time and energy and effort, and we know exactly how it's going to pan out, and the system gives that clarity. And so maybe for you, it's not a podcast. It could be business plan, new product launch, or ministry, or different things that you're working on. You might be asking, do I really need a plan? That sounds really complicated. Absolutely. Yes, you do. If you think that is maybe too official, call it a plan, a checklist, whatever you want to call it, rhythm. And it doesn't have to be a Google sheet, just pen and paper, calendar, whatever works for both of you. Go ahead and start with something very simple. In closing, having a shared priorities is having a compass or focus or direction. Having a plan is like how to actually execute this and make it happen.
And really, there is a unique process for each couple that they have to go through to figure out what best works for them. For us, it took a long time for us to figure that out. Chaos and drop balls we wish we could have avoided. And that's why we put something together called Working Duo. It's specifically for Christian couples who lead or work together, where we help you figure out, okay, what is this system that best works? How do you take something from an idea all the way down to the finished product? We help you figure out, okay, where do you best fit in that process? Who needs to take lead on what connected to enjoyment and work and productivity? We help you find language on how to work with one another and establish those rhythms where you can become wildly productive, build a unshakable partnership, and discover deeper joy of working with each other. For us, it's like, it's a dream come true to be able to offer this to you. You're like, man, I'd love to hear a little bit more. Just get connected with us. There's a link down below. You can hit that and fill out the information. And yeah, we'd love to chat with you, see if we're a good fit for that process, and have the opportunity to at least hear your story and how you're leading with one another.
As always, it's an honor to be sharing what the Lord put on our hearts as worship unto God. And if this is something that you like, share with other people, like us, subscribe to our episodes, and we will see you in our next episode.